guys, I decided to jump on here because I'm having to refilm. So I told you I would put up, after my New York City vlog, I would put up the books I read and my New York City haul, and I went to upload that and I'm missing like this chunk in the middle, and it's like I just need to refilm the beginning at least, and then it's gonna go on to the next part. So this is the books I read while traveling in New York City and beginning of my book haul, and then the rest of it will be finished out in the first video I filmed for this. Sorry, I keep looking down at the pile of stuff that I held, but so yeah, let's just start with the books. The very first book I read while traveling was The Honeymooners because it was recommended on YouTube as a great traveling book, and this is by an author, Christina and Lauren, and I did not know they were an author set because it doesn't say and, but I didn't know it was two females. I had read some of their books before. I had like read half of one and didn't quite finish it, and then I had read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating because it was really hyped up and I didn't like it, so I was kind of like but I kept hearing about them, and I heard a lot about On Honeymooners, and it had a really pretty cover, so I put it on my list and it popped up, and just in time for me to go to New York. So I listened to it and I absolutely loved it, and I'm so glad. I did like their writing style. It's just, I guess I'm picking about romances, and this one I happen to like, and it is so cute. The cover is adorable. This story follows Olive and Ethan, and Olive has a twin sister named Amy, and she is considered really lucky, but I feel like she like works hard for luck because she spends an exorbitant amount of her time, all her extra time, applying for sweepstakes and winning things a lot of times. And then the other sister, Olive, she tends to have bad luck. And then Ethan is the brother to Amy's fiance slash will-be husband. So the story starts at a wedding scene where her twin sister and Ethan's brother are getting married, and they basically won everything for this marriage. They won their honeymoon, and they won the food that they're eating, and they won shares, like everything they've won in sweepstakes for this wedding. So they had to pay next to nothing for the wedding, which is really nice. But there is a seafood buffet, and Ethan is like against buffets, and then Olive just doesn't like shellfish, or is allergic to shellfish or something like that. So both of them eat chicken, where the rest of the party eats a seafood buffet, and they all get super sick with this toxic thing that like lasts like up to a month or something. So at first, her sister, being the maid of honor, tries to rearrange the honeymoon, but since it was a sweepstakes win, they don't allow it to be transferable, and they don't allow it to move dates or times or anything. So what happens is Ethan has the same last name as his brother, of course, and then she can pass for her twin sister, of course. So they go on the vacation together, but the story is that they don't like each other. For whatever reason, something happened in the beginning when they first met each other a long time ago, like 4 years ago, and they just don't like each other and have never got along. So neither one of them was super psyched to go on the trip, but they think they're going to go on like their own kind of vacation, like just have their own time, but they end up spending a whole lot of time together. So this was fun listening to on the plane trip I took, because I literally was at the airport from like 7 to 3 flying to New York, because I had to wait for people to get in, and you have to get there early and all that stuff. So, and it's like close to a 4-hour plane ride. So I listened to the whole book in a day, and there's a lot of talk about planes while you're on there. So that was fun to read, and I liked it, and it set me in the mood of like going to a spa, which that's not what New York City was. It was really fun. It was really lighthearted. It had good comedic timing. I thought it was funny. There are little problems and issues that jump up in the book, but I thought it was a really good travel companion. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, that's the setting. Scene is a enemies to lovers trope. You kind of know what it is going into it. And yeah, the second book I read during the trip, or listened to as well, I had some downtime because my husband was like working in New Jersey, so I had this downtime. So I listened to another book by Christina and Lauren because I really liked that one, and the other one that was really highly rated by them was Roomies. And this one actually happened to be perfect for New York City as well. I don't know if I would have liked the book as much if I hadn't been listening to it while I was traveling in New York, because I'd also listen to it while I was getting ready in the morning, or at nights when I was going to bed, I'd listen to parts of it. And the setting scene is set in New York for Roomies, and Roomies is a story about Holland and Calvin is this very talented musician who is an illegal immigrant at this point. He came here like on a student visa, and then stayed here when his student visa ran out and never got a work visa, never got work. But he was this really talented musician who was buskering in like subway stations. And then, and then Holland was this girl who didn't have her stuff together yet. And she was like in her mid-20s. She's like, her uncles like were partly raised her because she came from a really big family, and so these uncles of her partly raised her, and they work on Broadway, so they gave her this job and pay for her apartment in New York City, and she takes pictures. But she's an aspiring writer, but she never writes, she never does anything, and I feel like she could have had more jobs or something. So something's kind of bothered me about Holland, that she was in her mid-20s and just living kind of off of other people and other people's work. But anyways, to pay back her uncles, she went and found this guy, and actually she had a huge crush on him, and he doesn't know about it. And she said, this is who you need for your play, because somebody was leaving the play. This is who you guys need to succeed. And so her uncles take a look at him, or her uncle does, because the other one works in a different field. And he absolutely loves the idea, but then there's the whole issue of illegal immigrants. So it is a thing where they get married for a green card. And obviously a little bit of a romance ensues and everything. I thought, I don't know, I don't know if I would have liked this book as much if I hadn't been listening to New York, but since they were walking around New York and they were in the Broadway area, and then also I was going to a Broadway play while I was in New York City, it was just like the perfect setting for the perfect book. And it was just like, if you're traveling to New York City, definitely check it out. I really liked Roomies. If you liked Unhoneymooners, I think you will also like Roomies by Christina and Lauren. And then the last book I read on vacation, I read actually on the flight home. Like I said, it's a long kind of journey day going home, and then I was kind of out of it. I was like, oh, and we got home at like noon. So I did finish the book that day, just because we were laying around and taking naps, and yeah. So I did finish the book. But it was Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors by Sonali Dev. By Sonali Dev. This had been on my list of like books to look out for. I think it is a new release recently, and I did really want to read it, and so it had been put on to my checkout book list, and it came up, and I was like, okay, I'll listen to it. But I had just read another Pride and Prejudice retelling, and it wasn't that great. And most Pride and Prejudice retellings I read aren't that great, but I still read them all because I'm absolutely obsessed with Pride and Prejudice and the world of Darcy and Elizabeth. But I absolutely love this book. Just to say, like, this might be the best retelling I have ever read. This was a flip story, which was like a gender flip story, so I kind of liked that a lot. So the Elizabeth and the Darcy are she's Dr. Raj, and Darcy, I think is called Darcy. Yeah, his name is Darcy James. So Elizabeth is Dr. Raj, and then Darcy James is the Darcy. But in this scenario, Dr. Raj does really have that really characterized family like Elizabeth has. And then Darcy has like that sister role, that very important sister role. And I like this book because it like delved a lot more into the sister role. His sister in this scenario has this neurological problem where she needs to have brain surgery, and she's going to lose her sight, and she's an artist, and Dr. Raj is that doctor who's going to perform the surgery, and she's this very talented neurosurgeon. But being a neurosurgeon, she turns to be uppity and proud and prideful, and like hits him at the wrong time of the day after she's like exhausted, and is just very uppity. So she actually turns out to take the Darcy role in the original Elizabeth and Darcy. She takes that role of the scenario, and then he actually takes the Elizabeth role and acts much more like Elizabeth. And I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I thought there was some questionable things, like medically wise. I was like, I don't know if you're supposed to be involved with your patient's family. I'm pretty sure you're not at all. But it's set up that he's like this celebrity chef, and he needs money to pay for his sister's stuff, and he's working for her family, and that's how they meet outside of his sister, and then they come back around because they meet because of his sister. She had already been working on her sister's case. But yeah, it was really enjoyable. If you like Pride and Prejudice retellings, I would say this is the one to read. It was a lot of fun. I think I rated this one really high as well. And yeah, I had a lot of fun reading on this New York City trip. All the books I read just turned out to be like the perfect reads while traveling, and it was so much fun. But let's get started in the haul, because some of the haul did get cut off. So I went to the New York Public Library. So yeah, we went all over if you look at our New York City vlog, but the places I went to a lot were like bookish places or libraries or bookstores, and I didn't want to buy a lot in New York just because we were paying more to like go see stuff and go to museums and things like that and go to the play and food and everything. I wanted to enjoy more of those things, and you have to lug everything around in New York City, and you're not hopping back in and out of your hotel because yeah, it's a lot of walking. Anyway, so we went to the New York Public Library, which was a bit of a surprise. I knew like it was a historical library, but I didn't realize that they didn't have any like regular books. Like I thought there was a normal library section in the New York Public Library, the famous one. There's a ton of New York Public Libraries, but in this famous one I thought there was, but there wasn't. There were all like leather bound old books and books for research, and like it was definitely like a historical library. So it was beautiful, but just not what I was expecting. So I wanted something to commemorate it, so I got a bag. They have a bunch of these bags there. There were some that were really cool that were like $65 and they were all hip, but I just got one of the basic canvas ones in yellow because I love this color. It says New York Public Library. On the inside, it's got nice thick straps. It does have a pocket. Made in the USA, that's always wonderful and nice. And then on the other side, there were some with better quotes, but like I said, I'm a huge Jane Austen fan, so I got the Jane Austen quote, and it says, "There is no enjoyment like reading Jane Austen." And so yeah, I really love that. And I did have clips of the New York Public Library if you want to check that out. It was in there. And then, yeah, we will cut back now, I believe, to everything else I went and saw and everything else I uploaded originally. And yeah, okay. Obviously I went all over to book places in New York, and not everything I picked up was books, but a lot of it was. So I went to the New York Public Library, I went to the Chelsea Market and went to a bookstore there, and that was really cool, but it was all new books, so I didn't buy anything there, and there wasn't anything that was like particular to that store. Guys, I also forgot, we were in the Chelsea Market, like I said, and I didn't get anything in the bookstore, but we did go into this Pearl Market in the Chelsea Market, which had adorable little Hello Kitty chopsticks, which my kids already have some chopsticks, but these ones were adorable. We couldn't pass them up. So we did pick up these. Well, back to the video. And then I also went to the most famous one, which is the Strand, and the Strand has mostly used books, and I think it has like 18 miles of books or something. The book stacks are so tall, and if you go all the way up and hike yourself up to the 3rd floor, they have a rare books room. And some of them are cheaper, some of them are like $50, but some of them were really expensive out there. But I ended up just getting a used book that I don't ever see often in like used bookstores. I never see these ones, but it is by Amy Kaufman, Megan Spooner, This Shattered World. I do have one other copy of this. I only spent $5 if you look at the list price in the Strand, because it is a used book. But I always see either Amy Kaufman or Megan Spooner separately. I see their other books they printed all the time, but I never see this particular series. And I love this series. I read them last year, so it was really cool. And I remember that. I'll probably leave the sticker on, so I remember I bought it at the Strand. But as well, I found another super cool bag there. Because I wasn't going to get a bag, but this one had a zipper. And the day I went to the Strand, it was pouring buckets. And I thought, if I buy anything else on this trip, I'll just carry this with me. And it has a zipper, and it's a beautiful cover. This one also has a quote on it. It says, "May the book you read light the way," which I thought was really cool, almost Harry Potter-esque. And on the back it does say 18 miles of books, The Strand, New York City, established in 1927. Really old bookstore. That's really cool. But I really like this one. I don't think is there a zipper pocket? Oh, there is. I don't think I put anything in it. There is another inside pocket, which is really cool, and it is also zippered. This came in handy in New York City, being rained on that particular day, and then it getting hot and me putting my sweater away. I had a big old bag to carry it in. One of the next things I went to was St. Patrick's Cathedral, and I got this little pendant, which they sell in a lot of Catholic churches, I believe, but it says St. Patrick's Cathedral on one side, and on the other side I think it is the Holy Spirit dove. They were all like the main things. Like you could get a St. Patrick or a St. Jude, but I just thought it was a really cute necklace, and I got the pendant, and this is just a necklace I have, but I thought it was really cute. And that, honestly, I've been to like a lot of cathedrals, never in Italy or anything, but I've been to the one at St. Paul's and the St. Patrick's that's in Dublin, and the Notre Dame in Paris, and some other ones in Paris. But this one had some money. Like, I was shocked and surprised to be in the US and have one that looks as old as those ones, but also really well taken care of and has a lot of money. Like, a lot of money must have went into that church. It was beautiful. It is definitely one of the main highlights, I would say, to go see in New York City. It isn't like my top 3 or anything, but it was like at the very bottom of my list, and it was like one of the things I was really glad I actually went and did. But most importantly, let's talk about it. I went to the Broadway play, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which was the main thing we spent the most money on in New York City, was going to this play and spending money at this play. It is expensive to go see it, and it is expensive to get good seats. It is expensive. Everything is like, the popcorn is tiny and it's like $10. But the first thing my husband got, was the t-shirt. So I think he got this in a large to wear. And it says Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, part 1 and 2, and it's got the golden wing on it. And then on the back it says the 8th story, 19 years later. And on the very bottom it says Lyric Theater, New York, so we know where we saw it. I heard that J.K. Rowling and everybody, they redesigned everything. So all the houses, if you see in my original clips, in my New York City vlog, if you go check those out, all the houses were redesigned and everything was designed particularly for this play. And I don't know if you can buy any of this stuff online. Oh yeah, you can. There's a www. So this shirt was $30, and it's cursedchildstore.com. But really cool. One of the best things I did in New York City by far was going to the Broadway play. It like shocked me. It was so good. Number 2 is obviously we got the show bills, which I've never had like a proper Broadway play because I've never been to one. That's part 2 also. So here is part 1 show bill, and then I also have the part 2. I think we have double of each. I don't know, they just kept handing them to you, and I tried to give them away because like they would run out of them too, and I'd like give them away to some kids that wanted them, but it was cool because it does tell you about the actors as always in a Broadway play, but it also tells you about like every book. Like, it gives descriptions of all 8 books before you see the play. So they make you check in an hour early. You would definitely have time to read through their little descriptions because they're quite short descriptions. And then the last thing, or not the last thing, but the last thing I got from the Cursed Child play was some other little souvenirs. So I think if you get wine or water or butterbeer, but they don't call it butterbeer there because they're not allowed to. I don't think that's at Universal. It is called butterscotch and beer, but it is non-alcoholic. And it doesn't have the foam on the top, but it's still really good. I couldn't go to the play without it. You get a cup. You have to pay for the cup. But I think the refills were only $11, but I think originally it was way more expensive than that. But they make you buy the cup if you buy any of those drinks. I think they do have ones with white lids and white lettering, so it's a little different, but it has the normal like little nest in the child, and then it also has the play Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which this we're going to give to our youngest daughter. We don't typically use little plastic sippies, but she'll love it. So my oldest daughter, we went ahead and got her the tin mug, which I thought was really cool looking, but it's tin, so she could use it for her pens or something, because tin gets really hot or cold, so you always have to keep it by the mug. I mean, it's good for camping, but on the bottom it has a sticker, but it does say Harry Potter and Cursed Child, and then it also has the gold netted thing. But I love the gold rim and the black and white polka dots on it. It's really cute, really adorable. On the way out, when you're leaving the first night, everybody goes keep his secrets, and they give you this little pen, and it says pound keeps the secrets. I think it's just like, not to reveal everything about the play, but it is awesome. It was like, I've never seen a Broadway play obviously in production, but there were like movie quality things in it, like the magic they performed. It was just as good as in some of the movies and stuff. I don't even know how they did some of the stuff, how they made some people appear and stuff, and oh my gosh, when they turned back time, they used like the sounds and the lights and everything, and they had they redid like the entire theater, of course. They redid all the carpeting, had Hogwarts carpeting, and the outside had all the ironwork, and there was paper wall, and like it was just really cool. And they do something with the wallpaper in the middle of the play which just shocks you, and the wallpaper was gorgeous. But yeah, there was a lot in the play that just shocked you. It was really, really awesome. Highly recommend. And then my souvenir, because my kids got souvenirs, my husband did, I got one of their pens. The pens are really, really heavy. I debated getting my Hogwarts house Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff, because I am kind of in both. But I just went with the classic Harry Potter and Cursed Child, parts 1 and 2. And that has a little emblem. But these pens are really heavy. If you do order one online or something and you don't know. And there's like a little black jewel on top. And they're the twist up kind. But yeah, really, really nice pens. And then the last things, oh, I forgot to show this too. So at St. Patrick's Cathedral, I also got my mommy a gift, and I got her St. Teresa of Calcutta, Mother Teresa, and it's got, I think, a little necklace emblem in there of her. But my mom, if you've ever met my mom, you know she's like obsessed with Mother Teresa, and I just thought this was a really cute bookmark of her. I've seen many, but I really liked this one, so I went ahead and picked that up for my mom. And then the last really cool place we went to was like by surprise. I don't think I bought anything anywhere else. Like the 9/11 memorial and stuff, I was like emotionally drained. And anytime you buy anything in New York, you've got to carry it around. And I wasn't really there on like a shopping trip. But the one place that also really shocked me in New York City was Starbucks. So we went to a Starbucks Reserve, which they have this here in Houston, but they had a roastery one where they roast the beans and everything, and they only have like 5 of those in the world, and the only one in America is in New York City and Chelsea. So this thing we completely stumbled on just by chance, and so it was really cool. My husband got the traditional like New York Starbucks mug, which I should run and get and show you. And then the only thing we either got was we both got our fathers these. They're whiskey barreled aged. In these reserves, they had a ton, even more so than the normal reserve store, of us like really cool flavored beans. And this one smelt the best to me. It smelled really good. And my dad's not like, he drinks coffee every day. I wouldn't say he's not into coffee, but he's into like going like bulk coffee, right? Just like whatever is Colombian in bulk. But this one just smelled really good, so I had to pick it up for him, and it was really cool. So hopefully he likes it for Father's Day. It was really, really cool. It was like one of the biggest surprises to us on the trip because we didn't plan on going there at all. We just stumbled upon the store, and I really, really liked it in there. If you want to check out the clips of the store, once again, go check out the vlog. But that is, everything we got in New York City. And I hope you enjoyed it and got some book recommendations for traveling as well. I know a lot of these things were bookish, but that's what I do here on YouTube. And I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys next time. Bye!